So, can you hear me good now?
Man, it's perfect now. What'd you
I
do?
don't know what was going on the first time.
I
But yeah,
sound good?
yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to start just by asking if you could share a little bit about what year you started painting and what utensils were you using when you started.
Yeah. Um, First of all, thanks for, contacting me and having me on and stuff. I don't do many interviews, only because I like being like under the radar, and you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But once in a while, it's cool to come out and say what's up to people. Um, but yeah, man, I started doing six. Uh, Through one of my classmates. He had brought in, those old folders where they have the plastic, clear plastic, and you can stick drawings, so then you can
Oh
see
yeah,
them from the
yeah,
outside. Yeah.
yeah.
So he had one of those folders, and I was looking at it because I was already drawing. Um, and I had done letters before, but nothing graffiti. It was just like bubble names and stuff like that. I guess if you look at it, you could probably look at it and see it as like bubble letters
Okay.
in the graffiti world. But back then I was just doing names for friends or whatever. But I became friends with him, and I was like, hey, can I see your folder? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, my brother drew that. His brother Jose. And I was like, man, I was like, can I borrow it? And he was real cool. He's like, yeah, man, borrow it. I was like, let me borrow it and see if I can make a copy of it, and I'll give it back to you. That's how much I was like kind of impacted by his letter style, the colors he used, and all that stuff, right? So I took it home, and I already had markers. I had a bunch of, all kinds of design markers, because my mom used to work at Standard Brand's paint store.
Okay.
So she would always bring me markers and hook me up with all kinds of supplies because she knew I liked to draw. So she kind of fed me what I needed. I had everything. So to make the long story short, I took it home. We had those little black and white TVs, radio TVs like that big.
Okay.
And so, just in the bedroom, it was for the kids. We just watch whatever we wanted on there, right? So I took this thing and I took my friend Raul's, his brother's piece that he made on paper, and I traced it. Okay. On that, I didn't have a light table. So I used the TV light, and I traced piece by piece because it was little like this, but the piece was like, the paper was like a 8.5.
Do you remember what the paper said? What was the name?
No, I don't remember, man. Oh, you know what? I think it was something way, Sagway, or some weird name, man.
Okay.
But anyways, I took the paper. I had colors very similar to the ones he used. So after I copied it, I inked it, and I was able to color it the same way he did it. So I tried to copy everything that the guy did, right? I folded the paper and made it look just like the original. So the next day I took it back to school, and I handed him my version, the one I did.
Yeah.
And he didn't even notice. Like, he took the drawing I did, and he thought it was the one his brother did. And it wasn't until I told him, he was like, oh shit, it looks the same, And after that, bro, that was it. That I kept doing it. I kept going. Growing up, I didn't have mentors. I didn't have any pioneer graffiti dudes that said, hey, Drue, here's some sketches, here's this, here's that. I didn't have none of that. The only thing I had was 3 graffiti pieces that I saw this guy Jose bust on paper. And the first one was the one I took home and I copied, and the other 2 I just looked at, and I met his brother. He was cool, but he was older. He was an older guy, man. He was already, for whatever reason, he was leaving graffiti behind.
Okay.
So that's what started me. I got into USC in '89. The crew started in '86. I got in '89 because I was classmates with one of the crew members.
Were you painting? Were you already painting prior to that, or you started painting?
Nah. See, I was like a late bloomer, bro. I was so into, developing my skills on paper, and I was just focused on that. I used to do 3 to 4 colored pieces daily. You know, that's how much I was sketching and putting in work before I could hit any walls. The first time I touched the spray can was in '89. I had bought some paint. I think obviously the first spray cans I bought was Krylon, a couple of Rustos, and that was pretty much it. And it was I was living in Panorama City. My uncle used to live there. He used to have he had a 2-car garage with only 1 car parked in there, so there was plenty of space. So I made my mom buy me those 4x8 plywoods from and I buffed them and I sketched out.
What was a Krylon going for? A Krylon and a Roster going back in '89.
What were they going for?
Yeah.
Man, if I can remember correctly, they were like 2 something.
Hey.
2 or 3.
It was a little pricey though still, right?
Back then, yeah. I mean, you know why I think? Because they didn't really have anyone to compete with. I mean, other than Rust-Oleum. And they were both, I think they both had like the same, around the same price range. But yeah, they weren't too expensive. I think I bought like $50 worth of paint.
Okay.
Some whites, true blues, cherry red. Just real basic colors. Some school bus yellow. Real basic colors. Turquoise.
But back then in '89, I'm assuming it was a lot easier to like rack them and stuff if you wanted to, because I know a lot of guys didn't like to, but the guys that did, because now, I mean, you go to the hardware store and they got them all locked up in a cage, and you got to do all this extra stuff to get one.
Yeah, I guess even back then, or now, I mean, it depends where you go. I wasn't really into racking. Like, I guess because I didn't really have to rack.
Okay.
My mom would always hook me up with whatever art supplies, because she worked at the paint store.
And that's dope that she supported your what you were chasing.
Oh yeah, she knew about graffiti. She knew I had gone out a few times with my buddy Ray to go do some illegal shit. She knew, but
yeah,
she knew, the type of kid that she had. She knew I wasn't going to be getting out of control, man. I guess from a young age, I always had my head on straight. I wasn't going to get caught doing stupid shit.
Yeah, even though I had a very traditional mother growing up.
What's that?
I had a very traditional mother growing up, and it was tough trying to explain to her what I had going on.
Yeah, no, my mom knew what was up. Even some of the dudes from my crew would go to Standard Brands at the time, and they would be buying paint, and she'd be like, "What are you guys gonna do with this?" And I think one of them said like, "Oh, we're gonna go do some graffiti," and she was like, "Oh, my son does graffiti. He's from USC," and they're like, "Oh, what? What's his name?" She's like, "Drue." She's like, "Oh, we know Drue. You're his mom." So she knew what was up. She was really cool about the whole thing.
That's dope, brother. That's dope.
So yeah, that was the first time really that I used, you know, spray paint. I mean, before that, I obviously had seen it. I never tried it because I felt that I wanted to, you know, to get good on paper first. So I was like, once I felt I was ready to do something that wasn't going to be so toy. I mean, it was still toy, but back then for me it was like you know, it was a step forward because I had put in work, you know, in my books, and it was just a matter of time before I could, you know, translate my drawings into the wall, you know, kind of copy whatever I was doing on paper onto the wall.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
even remember too,
a
man.
lot of
I
people.
remember. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry to cut you off. No, I was just gonna say a lot of people seem to not understand that it's not that easy to just draw something and put it on the wall. You know,
I know.
like you have to have some type of skill and can control in order to transform
Yeah,
it from paper to the wall.
yeah, yeah. It
And
takes a little while, but what I did to I mean, back then I didn't know what I was doing, but
yeah,
now when I think back, I know why it worked for me. And I would do a lot of meditation without knowing that I was meditating. So I would go to sleep, and this is before I picked up a can. I would go to sleep picturing myself painting a wall, and to the point where I would dream about it. I would dream about, you know, me painting a wall, and in my dreams it was coming out dope, you know. So in a way, when I got to using spray paint, it didn't take me that long to kind of figure it out, because like I said before, I never had any nobody, you know, say, hey Drue, this is how you do it, let me show you. You know, the only guy
yeah.
that I saw, and it wasn't him telling me, come here, I want to show you. I just happened to be there, and I was just being nosy watching him. It was I used to work with this guy Julian, and he was one of the guys that started like one of the first like streetwear clothing companies
Okay,
in LA, right? So one of the guys that used to live at his house, one of his roommates was a writer. He goes by Tax from AM7. He
you
was a
said
cool dude.
AM7.
AM7.
Okay, AM7.
AM7. They're still around. I don't know what's up with him. I haven't heard or seen anything from him, but I'm sure he's still around. But anyways, I was at the dude's house, and this guy Tax was painting in the back of the house. He was painting a banner, and I just went out and watched him, and I was like, "What's up?" He's like, "What's up, man?" He's like, I was kicking it, watching him paint, and I just basically saw how he was cutting. He was cutting back with the colors, and you know, I took that and I used it. You know, I was like, when I go paint, I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna see what I can do now, right? And things like that. And it wasn't until later on that, you know, I started practicing a little bit, and you know, well, even before that though, when I was trying to get good on paper and trying to, you know, elevate my skills in high school, I got a hold of the Subway art book.
Okay.
Okay, and a lot of writers will tell you that's like the go-to Bible. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're a newbie and you don't know what you're doing, you're just gonna be doing, like whatever, you're not going to have direction. You're not going to have structure to your letters. So that's one of the books. Actually, I have it here. This is the book that people need to get.
What is it called? Subway Art?
Subway Art.
I gotta get me a copy of that.
It's all tagged on, man. Back then, I didn't care. I was like tagging all over the book. But
and it's dope that you share that, because aside of you're gonna be in the wrong direction, there's consequences. You might go over the wrong person, you might catch a spot in the wrong place, or even just be entertaining and get approached by gang members. Because my personal shit that happened to me, I mean, I've been approached by a bunch of cats and they just start tripping,
Yeah,
and
it happens, bro.
It's just so much that can happen that a lot of cats need to think about it, like know what they're doing, at least have some type of knowledge, not fully equipped, but some type of knowledge.
See, I think that the let's just to say this, from my perspective, from my experience being a 818 rider my whole life, I grew up in the Valley, grew up in North Hollywood, Van Nuys. I went to Birmingham High School. I didn't really have these pioneers. I didn't see them, So when I got a hold of that book, I was like, I started learning from that on my own. But I think that's the mistake that dudes that were already establishing themselves when I was coming up, that they didn't go out of their way to teach the up and coming artists, and I see that happen all the time. Like, that's why me now, when I see someone that needs help or whatever, I try to give them a little bit of knowledge and kick them down with, either outlines or sketches, because it's important. If they don't have direction, that means that, in the future, the writers of the future are either going to take writing to a, in a bad direction, or in the direction that is probably going to be bad for the graffiti culture. But if they have the knowledge, then they'll be able to teach the next generation of writers, and they'll be able to keep it going in a positive direction. So this is another important documentary that dudes need to invest in if they're going to be writing. Style Wars.
Style Wars. Yeah, I seen that one before.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Another one is this one.
What's that one said, bro? It's because it shows upside down. That's why I can't read it.
Oh, Spray Can Art.
Spray Can Art.
Yeah.
Man, thank you for sharing that, man. That a lot of people get the opportunity to check that out.
Yeah, man. Those right there, bro, will definitely give a new writer some kind of direction, some kind of format to the letters, a structure, because it's important. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm with you on that, brother, because I feel like now a lot of older writers should be doing that. Maybe not holding hands, but leading them the right way, because a lot of guys now might just be a lot of guys out there now are just out there just doing what they got to do, however they know how to do it, and don't
I mean,
have that type of guidance.
There's some that are teaching the next generation or whatever, but I don't think there's enough. But now
I'm with you on that.
Either way, now it's easier. Now it's easier because of the internet.
Yeah.
Anyone that wants to get into writing can get online and just on Instagram, and there's like hundreds of writers, hundreds of dope, pieces, characters, whatever. But yeah, man. And you know, like I said, like USC, it was originally like a LA crew, but it moved. You know, I guess it was kind of half and half. I mean, the majority of the members were from LA, but the dudes that started it, you know, a couple of them were from the Valley. One of them I know for sure was from the Valley. Naughty, rest in peace, Naughty. He was a cool guy, man. And the dudes that kind of took me around was, you know, Ray's, Kray's, Craner was one of the guys too. I used to kick it with those guys. I was like a young dude, man. I used to sneak out of my window to go party with these guys. You know, because I was too young to go. I was too young. I didn't have a car. So I would sneak out, they would pick me up, and we'd go party.
For anybody that's tuning in, can you share a little bit about the Valley graffiti scene coming up in the Valley? Can you share a little bit about, you know, how it was out there, the rises? Is there anybody that was like running over there?
Look, when I was coming up, during like it was like a boom of writing, but the majority of the writers were like bus mobbers. You know, majority of the crew of my crew were bus mobbers. So you would see all these crews just like mobbing the buses in the daytime, just like if you YouTube it, you'll see the videos. You'll see the videos of kids jumping in front of the train, in front of the bus, RTD bus, and just like mobbing, just getting up. You know, I didn't ride the bus because my school was across the street, so I didn't need a bus pass. And by that time, I was 17, and my mom would she had 2 cars, and one of them she would just let me borrow wherever I needed to go. So I never rode the bus. But there was a lot of riders at that time getting up and just destroying the bus lanes, man. It was crazy times. I remember one time I went to a USC meeting in San Fernando, and I met, you know, the dudes that were in the crew, that just got in the crew in San Fernando. And that's where I first met, you know, Render, Hurt, you know, A12 at the time, he was in the crew. You know, Juice, a bunch of other dudes, and they were mobbing the bus, bro. They were going crazy. I was like, damn. To me, it was fun to watch. I was like, damn, that's dope.
There's different parts of the valley, if I'm correct, right? I think there's San Fernando Valley.
Yeah, I mean, it's the valley. The valley is pretty wide, bro. You know, San Fernando, Silmar, you know, all the way to like Sherman Oaks. I mean, it goes everywhere. My area was mainly, early on was North Hollywood, but then it was Van Nuys, like Van Nuys area. And later on I moved, as I got older, I moved to like Panorama City. But by then I was already starting to paint walls. Yeah. So yeah, I went for a long time not painting walls. Like I tried it, you know, around 80, 89, 90, I tried it, and I was like, man, this is dope, whatever. But I kept putting in work in my books, you know, getting better and better. And then next thing you know, since I had already connected with the writers from my crew in San Fernando, they had the USC yard in San Fernando. I remember Hurt hitting me up. He's like, hey, you know, come hit the yard. And I was like, oh, hell yeah, you know. And it just so happened to be like literally maybe like 10 minutes from my house. Because by then I lived in Panorama City. So we were hitting the yard, man. And that's where I started really painting more and trying to like develop. But yeah, man, those were good times.
I wanted to also ask. There's two terms that's been in the graffiti world for quite some time now, and I wanted to ask you if you could give me your take on them. One of them being toy, and the other one being capping.
Yeah. Well, that are starting out, that have no direction, that basically don't have mentors or don't have guidance. Uh, if you're a toy and you get up, you know, at a yard, on a
Yeah,
wall, wherever you get up at, but if you're still toy, and the definition of toy means that you're still in that learning process. You still don't have your letters down. You still don't have your characters down. You're still learning. So anybody that comes along and is better than you, they're gonna cap you. They're gonna go over you, and that's where capping comes in. They're gonna cap you because that's just the rules. If you do, something toy, some other guy that comes in is gonna look at it and be like, "Oh, I can do better than that," and basically that's the rule. Like he's gonna go over you. So a lot of times, what happens is these toys get capped over by like a cool piece, and then they get mad, and then they go back and they scribble or they tag over the piece, and then
yeah,
that's how beef can start, and that's not the way it works. If you're a toy and you get crossed over or you get capped on by another a piece that's better than yours, you can't go and go scribble over the guy that did it. What you have to do is you have to go back to the lab, which starts right here, go back to the lab, put it on paper, go back to the yard and drop something better. If you drop something better, now you can cap the guy that capped you last time. But it has to be better than what you did last time. And it has to be better than what he did. And then the guy should respect that. So if I get capped, if I do a piece and I get capped, it better be good. It better be better than what I did.
yeah. I'll
You
be, I'll
know?
be, I'll be like, damn, but I'll walk away knowing that guy burned me.
Yeah. And it's just look, it's like a sport too, man. If you can't beat him, go to the gym, get better, come back, rematch, knock him out.
Yeah,
That's how it works.
you're definitely right about that. How do you feel about beef, like catching beef or crew beef? Like, how do you think that should be taken care of, in your opinion?
Uh, we encountered a few little beefs with our crew, not within the crew, but well, there's always little disputes within the crew, internal stuff, but
Yeah, definitely.
it's small. That's nothing. We a good crew is will be able to handle it and listen to both sides and put an end to it, squash it. But if it's other crews or another crew that you're beefing with, you have to first figure out what it's about. Like, why are you beefing with this guy? Talk to the guy that's in the middle of it. What happened? You got to have dialect with these guys. Even with the other crew, try to get on the line with this guy and talk about it. If they can't handle it in a phone call, then the next thing is to take it to a wall. Go battle. If you guys want to battle getting up to see who gets up or to see who gets does the dopest piece, do it. There's plenty of ways, but don't go and try and look tough and pull out a gun on someone that you're having beef with, because then you shouldn't be doing graffiti. Don't be a writer if you're going to be strapped. You should get in a gang, join a gang. If you're going to be strapped, join a gang. If you're about, being a writer, bombing, doing, pieces, whatever, then you don't have to worry about that stuff. You know, you're
And
already, you should be at a different level where you don't have to sort to violence by carrying a gun, bro. That's
and
kind of childish.
I'm with you on that one, brother, because nowadays a lot of people don't seem to understand that. You know, like graffiti, it's a whole different element and lifestyle than gang banging, and when you try to mix both of them, it doesn't really work out. You know,
Right.
I've seen guys that are grown men now still beefing over something that happened 10, 15 years ago, which is
Yeah.
irrelevant to today's situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's tough because some guys they're just not willing to negotiate or come to an agreement. And it's like at the end of the day, I've been in situations where I'll be out there, you know, doing what I gotta do, and then some guy comes up with a gun, and then I'm over here like, you know, like I had situations where guys asking me like, "Do you write?" And then I'll be like, "Yeah, man," but then a couple minutes later, a friend shows up, and now they're gangbanging on me. So it's like, bro, what are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta, you know, I've never really had a situation like that, but I mean, I don't know what I would do. I mean, if someone came up to me hard, like they're trying to start something, first of all, I'm you know, I'm an older guy, bro. I don't, that to me is like so childish. Going up to someone that you don't know, and you know, you're basically claiming a street that, first of all, you didn't build. You probably don't own a home on that street, but you're dying over that turf. Like, oh, it's my turf. I control this spot. But yet when the fucking cops come, you go running. That to me is the most ridiculous mentality I've ever, you know, thought of. Like, I've ever seen it. It's ridiculous. But I mean, from a gangster's perspective, if I put myself in that mentality and the lifestyle, and how they always say they're a product of their environment, and it's the hood, and I come from the hood, and this is how we have to do it. Okay, fine. You know, I grew up next to freaking Haskell. I grew up next to those fuckers, dude. Like right next door. They never beefed with me. They were there. I went to school with those guys. You know, so
Yeah.
it's how you carry yourself. You know, it's how it's how you deal with them. They can be your friends, but don't make them your enemies. You know, there's people that do crazy shit, but if you're about that lifestyle, then you know, pick on people that are also about that lifestyle. Don't go picking on people that you know are not about that gang life. You know what I'm saying? It's like almost like bullying. If I'm gonna be a gangster and I'm gonna go up to some fool, he's gonna be a gangster too, and we're gonna go at it. I'm not gonna go up to a writer or some dude that does not look like a gangster at all. It's ridiculous. It doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm with you on
So
that, brother. You're right.
so
And
the
I hope that.
mentality, bro, the mentality, like, you gotta have, if you're gonna be a writer, first of all, you need to either get schooled or you need to school yourself as far as the origins. Where does it come from? Who were the first writers? How did it come, you know, come here to LA? Who was the first dudes here in LA? And get some kind of foundation. You know, build a foundation of what you're doing, because that's gonna help you not only in the art
Yeah.
when you draw, but mentally as well. Um,
How do you feel about the next three generations from today? Like, where do you think graffiti's heading? Do you see it going up or staying up, down, or how do you feel about the next two generations?
um, it's kind of tough to call, but if we can, let me give you an example. You look at social media, right? Instagram.
Yeah.
Every writer and their mama is on Instagram. And and they're I usually keep my Instagram private.
Okay.
Once in a while I'll make it public, but I keep it private because I'm not about, I've never been about fame. I want to be the most known. I want to be famous. Everybody knows Drue. Nah, I don't care about that shit, bro. I do it because I want to do it. I don't like people dictating who I am or what I'm about. I do that on my terms. You know what I'm saying? So I keep it private for a reason. But when you look at Instagram, there's a lot of dope graffiti. There's everything. And there's a lot of muralists that are doing murals with spray paint.
Yeah.
A lot of muralists. I don't want to call them graffiti writers because they're not. They're muralists and they're excellent. So there's a lot of that stuff. Now, a lot of graffiti writers can do these dope portraits and whatnot, backgrounds, all that stuff. They get down too. But I can see a lot of regular just artists jumping on that wagon of, oh, now I want to paint murals with spray paint. Now I want to, I don't know if they're trying to associate themselves with being graffiti writers. I don't know. I'm not here to judge. I can't say. But if they are, and the crew that, let's say they get in a crew and they accept them, well, then that's the crew. To each his own, bro. But for me and for my crew, I don't think I would want that. I don't want a dude in my crew that is going to represent USC, is going to represent graffiti.
Can you hear me, brother? You're breaking up a little bit. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Just the image a little blurry, but I can hear you.
Oh, okay, it'll come back. So
Okay.
what I'm saying is, like, from my perspective, my point of view, and my crew, I wouldn't want a writer to just be a muralist. Like, I don't want a dude that just does portraits to be in USC, because we want you to do letters, we want you to do characters, we want you to do backgrounds, we want you to be a well-rounded machine. And that's just my point of view. There's other crews that might allow that or might want that, and that's them.
Yeah.
That's cool. I don't hate on them. Good luck with that. That's cool. And I don't hate on dudes that just do portraits. If you're just a portrait artist, my respects. My respects. But it doesn't mean, in my eyes, you're a true, like, graffiti writer. I mean, that's just, my
I feel
opinion.
you. I feel you on that topic. I had a chance to check out your website. Can you share a little bit about that?
Which one? The graffkids?
Yeah, I thought it was amazing, brother. I seen like figures and shirts. To me, it was amazing. Can you share a little
Thanks,
bit
bro.
about that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get one. I'm gonna get one. It's just I hopped on it the other day, but it's not there no more. But I'm trying to get one of those little figures.
I gotta put the link back up there. But basically, the Graph Kids is I got the idea from just my imagination, just thinking like, you know, these little characters that are kids and they grow up doing graffiti. You know, so that's where I came up with the name graffkids. I have one right here actually.
Hey, yeah, that guy. He's dope.
Yeah,
You got a name for them? Or they're just graph kids?
it's just graffkids.
Okay, graph kids.
I
Okay.
only did this guy. I only made him in 4 colors. So he comes in 4 different colors. There's a red, a yellow and purple like Lakers.
Okay. Dope.
Uh,
Dope.
the red and black. There's a blue, and
I noticed
blue.
I noticed there was an all white one. Is that like for someone to just design themselves?
The all white one is just if you want to get a blank one and paint them yourself.
Okay, dope, dope.
Yeah.
I also seen you had some dope pizza designs on there.
I'm sorry. What?
I also got to check out these t-shirts. They were pretty dope. They say graph kids.
Oh yeah. Those are kind of old, bro. I've been kind of lagging on putting new designs and new stuff up there.
Okay.
But it's not done. I'm still gonna keep working on that site and more products later on. I mean, I'm in the process of moving, so I won't be here very long. But I'm gonna definitely do more stuff.
Okay.
And basically, graph kids is just like these little. Those are called maquettes. They're like vinyl figures, maquettes. They're 6-inch figures, and I made shirts to go along with them. Everything is supposed to be like pre-order. So if you want a shirt, you have to pre-order it, and then we get it printed, and then you get it. You know. But I definitely want to make more of those.
That's dope, brother. That's
Different
dope.
ones. Different ones.
I thought it was interesting because it's something that I've never seen. It's different, and I think it's good for everybody to go check that out. What is it? Graphkids.com?
Yeah, graffkids.com. Yep.
So there's another question that I like to ask everybody that hops on krylonTalk. Do you have a favorite pair of shoes that you like to rock while you're out there painting or at home working on some art?
Shoes? No.
Yeah.
No, like the homie Cleo, he always wears the newest shoes that he can find in his closet. They have to be fucking brand new so he could wear it to the yard. I'm like, dude, come on, bro. I'm over here wearing tore up shoes. Like he's trying to look cool. I'm like, I wear the ones that have the most paint. I look like a bum, bro, because I don't want to mess up all my clothes. Unless I'm gonna be in some kind of video, then I gotta wear something cool, right? But I just did these shirts.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see them.
That one says graffiti.
USC graffiti crew.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, I just got
Is that also available at graffitikids.com?
on graffkids.com. No, but you can. I have a few left. I don't know how many. Maybe 2 left. Unless the guys that are supposed to buy from me flake, then I'll sell them.
All right.
But yeah, I there's what's up, Cleo? Yeah, so yeah, bro. Like, it's just the way it is, man. And I definitely want to do more T-shirt graphics and stuff like that. That's what I do for a living. I've been doing T-shirt graphics forever, bro. For a long time, like professionally.
That's dope, brother. That's actually
Yeah.
I mean it's dope that it's not the same as spray painting, but it's something similar to develop and be creative in.
Yeah.
It helps a lot to still be able to be and so doing something creative all day. So maybe when you're right there, plotting or working on something,
Yeah,
and you'd be like, oh shit.
And it's funny because I don't feel I've reached my peak of, like I know there's still more growth artistically that I need to do, or that I can do. But I don't worry about it because I'm like I said, I'm not about out there trying to find fame or none of that shit. I do it at my pace, and I do what I want. So, you know, when it's time to get down and come with it, I come with it. That's just the way it is. But I know I still have to grow. There's still more ideas, stuff I want to do, stuff I think about, stuff that more products, like more of those graffkids, just different stuff, man.
When
T-shirt
it comes to
lines.
painting a mural, do you have a process, or do you just freehand the sketch on the wall?
It depends. I mean, when I don't feel like sketching something, what I do is I go online. If I find something dope that I like, I'll take it and I'll paint it on the wall. You know, I'll kind of do it my own way, but you know, it doesn't matter. But when I'm feeling creative and I feel like drawing, I'll sketch something, character, whatever, and I'll drop it. But as far as letters, I always do. Obviously, I do my own letters. You can't find graffiti letters online and be like, oh look, I found a Drue. I'm gonna go.
Have you had the chance to travel out of the United States to paint?
I'm sorry, what? What'd you say?
Have you had the chance to travel out of the United States to paint?
Out of the U.S., I've painted just in Central America. And where else? Mexico, I think, and that's it.
Is there something you could share about that experience that probably maybe stood out? Like, you know, maybe seeing somebody painting with something different, or a different technique that they were using?
You know what? I think just painting anywhere out of the U.S. is fun, bro, because it feels like a vacation away from home. So maybe it's a state of mind, because, you know, when I go paint here, it's work. It's you know, I'll spend a whole day under the sun painting, and I'm beat. I'm literally beat when I come home. But painting, like for example, when I painted in Central America, although I didn't do anything huge, but it felt, I mean, I was on vacation, so it felt like a vacation, and I was able to just have more fun with it for some reason. Yeah.
Oh, I had a chance to check out your video. There's a video of you on YouTube where you're discussing. I mean, not disgusting. Sorry,
I'm
discussing.
discussing.
No. Sorry about that. Discussing a little bit about how you feel that if someone mastered a letter form, that they should look into adapting characters into their style. Can you share a
Oh
little
yeah,
bit about that?
yeah. That, it's almost like if it applies to you, run with it. If it doesn't apply to you, just let it go by. But basically, what that is if you're a writer and you have your letters down, like you're already good, you're already dope on your letters. Even if you have 4 styles, whatever, it doesn't matter. You should try and do characters now on paper, not on the wall, on paper. So get good, because you don't want to come dope with like a dope piece of your name and then your character's whack. So develop, now that you have your letters down, develop some characters. You know, even if they're like basic old school characters, but if they're clean, they're gonna look dope. And vice versa. If you already have your characters down, and yeah, okay, you're known for characters, that's cool, but it doesn't hurt to jump on letters now. You know, evolve. Don't skate in one spot like this. Don't stay stuck. Like, move, go. You know, that's how I see it.
Now you're
because
right, brother. I feel you on that. You're absolutely right.
well, look, because when I was growing up, bro, there was no internet. I can't just Google graffiti and have a grip of graffiti and just like start learning, you know. I didn't have that. We had, you know, the Subway Art book, but even before that, you had to sketch, you know. I used to get comic books. I used to be into comic books, and from all the comic books I bought, I think I maybe read one. Because I wasn't getting comic books to read them. I was getting them to learn. You know?
I used to do that when I was younger. I used to go to the Swami and get a bunch of them and just be like, "Oh shit," and just start working on
Yeah,
some shit.
I was getting them to learn, bro. And you know, if I needed to learn how to draw hands, I would just sit there on one sheet and just draw hands. I want to learn how to do eyes. I just draw eyes. Noses, just noses. Shoes, I was big on shoes. Big on shoes. So I was like, I'm drawing shoes. I'm drawing shoes all day long. So, you know, you have to basically, I think, in my opinion, strengthen where your weaknesses are. So if your weakness is drawing hands, learn how to do hands. If your weakness is drawing shoes, learn how to draw shoes. You know what I'm saying? If your weakness is drawing letters, learn how to draw letters.
Practice and you'll get better.
What's
A lot
that?
of people need to understand you got to go back to the pad and practice.
Bro,
And then once
it starts right here. And whatever's here, you got to put it on paper. If you don't put it on paper and you just think you're going to just freestyle everything on the wall, you'll be able to tell. Dudes like me will look at it and be like, that looks like a freestyle.
Dope. Again, brother, I just want to give you the thanks for coming on krylonTalk and give me some time to talk to you today. And for everybody that's tuning in, we have Drue Usc. And man, I look forward to meeting you once this COVID-19 is over, because this shit got all messed up right now.
Yeah. So I rep USC and TNT. Just TNT, the nation's top-notch talent. You know, USC's Unique Sketch Crew, Unstoppable Criminals, Until Society Crumbles. You know, that's my favorite letters, because you can come up with all kinds of dope, like, sayings for USC.
Have you ever been out here to the harbor area?
Not to paint or nothing, no.
No?
You got yards out there?
Yeah, well, it's pretty big out here. I'm over here like by the beach areas, but I'm from a city called Dominguez out here in the harbor area.
How far are you from LA?
I'm not that far, brother. I'm probably like, without traffic, like 25 minutes probably.
Yeah, okay.
Downtown.
Yeah.
I was just out there the other day. Fucking, they closed on the shop right there because of the COVID. I was trying to get in there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll link up, bro.
Yeah, brother.
Go paint. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, brother. I appreciate that, and I'll stay in touch with you. And again, thank you. This thing gives me a time limit, and then it shuts off, so I don't want it to shut off.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you, brother.
Peace
Much
to
love.
my crews, USC, TNT, Siege, Cleo, Hurt, all you guys, man. Peace out.
Peace.